Welcome back to Easy English, Relaxed English Conversations. I am Lily.
And I am James.
And we are so excited to get into today's deep dive. But before we hit record, we were just catching up. How has your week been?
Well, it has been a week, honestly. But I actually had a pretty big win with that kind rewrite exercise we talked about last time.
Oh, nice. The one where you change your harsh self-talk.
Exactly. I was working on a painting, and my brain just defaulted to, you know, I am a coward for not showing this art to anyone.
Ouch. Oh, yeah, that inner critic can be brutal.
Right. But I actually stopped myself. I caught the thought and changed it to, I am scared, and that's okay.
Wow, I love that. That is a massive shift in perspective.
It really was. It felt amazing. But I mean, it is not all perfect. I am currently really struggling with a good friend of mine.
Oh, no. What is going on there?
We just keep having the exact same argument over and over again. They're just so incredibly messy, and it drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, man. The endless loop argument.
Yes, it is exhausting.
Oh. You know the scenario. You're standing in the kitchen or on the phone, and suddenly you were just reciting lines from a script you both seem to have memorized.
Like, how many times do we have to have this exact same fight before they change?
Well, your timing is actually perfect. Because our deep dive today focuses on a stack of sources from a relational psychology module that explains this exact phenomenon.
Oh, really? So there's a psychological reason I keep fighting about coffee cups in a car.
Exactly. It all connects back to the idea of the shadow self, the parts of our personality we hide away because we think they are unacceptable.
Right, the stuff we shove down into the basement.
Yeah. But these sources take that abstract concept and map it directly onto our daily arguments. Our mission today is to unpack how our hidden traits cause this very specific kind of relationship pain.
Wait, how does a hidden trait in my subconscious start a fight about a messy living room?
To understand that, we have to look at a key concept from the sources: shadow projection.
Okay, shadow projection.
Right. So, in very simple English, this means seeing our own hidden parts in other people, which causes us to feel angry or annoyed. Shadow projection.
Ah, I see, shadow projection. Got
Right.
it. So how does that actually work in practice?
Well, think about how much energy it takes to maintain your identity.
Uh,
If you learned growing up that being loud was bad, you shoved your loudness into the shadow basement.
right, to stay safe and loved.
Exactly. But that basement isn't just dead storage, it is highly pressurized. Your brain simply cannot contain those hidden traits forever.
So they have to leak out somehow.
Yes. It acts like a movie projector. It beams your own unaccepted, repressed traits outward onto the people around you. You look at them and you feel intense, irrational rage at their behavior.
Wait. Are you saying I am projecting my own messiness onto my friend?
That is exactly what the sources would argue.
Really? But I have to push back on that. I am a fundamentally neat person.
Are you, though?
Yes. I mean, I color code my digital calendar. I literally vacuum my baseboards. I am objectively organized. How can I be projecting messiness?
Well, think about the absolute rigidity of the identity you just described. You are white-knuckling your organization. Holding on to that identity takes a massive amount of psychological suppression.
I mean, it is definitely exhausting sometimes.
Right, and the projection isn't coming from your color-coded calendar. It is coming from the hidden, exhausted part of you.
So there is a part of me that actually wants to be messy.
Exactly. Sometimes you probably feel overwhelmed and just want to drop your jacket on the floor after a long Tuesday. But you view that urge as a moral failure.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely feel embarrassed if my house isn't perfect.
So you repress it. It is like holding a beach ball underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Your arms are trembling. You are expending all this unseen effort. And then you look over at your friend.
And their beach ball is just floating casually on the surface. They're just enjoying the sunshine.
And you hate them for it.
I really do. It drives me crazy.
Because your brain perceives their casual messiness as a profound threat to the strict rules you force yourself to live by. You aren't actually managing their logistics when you yell at them.
What am I doing then?
You are punishing them for the crime you are secretly wanting to commit in the basement of your own psyche.
Wow. That is a lot to take in. I am policing them because I am so deeply exhausted from policing myself.
Exactly. If you were genuinely comfortably neat without any shadow attachment to it, their jacket on the couch would just be mildly inconvenient.
Right, I would just ask them to move it. It wouldn't turn into a 20-minute lecture.
The emotional charge is the dead giveaway. It points directly to your shadow.
This is wild. Does this mechanism show up in other areas? Like, what happens when the emotional stakes are even higher?
Oh, it gets much more volatile, especially when we look at romantic relationships.
Okay, romantic relationships.
Yes, meaning the intimate, loving connections between two partners. Romantic relationships.
Right. So how does the shadow projection show up there?
Well, intimate relationships are the ultimate pressure cooker. The sources highlight a specific example of a woman who constantly picks fights with her boyfriend because he is too quiet.
Wait, she is mad just because he doesn't talk much?
Yeah, they go to a dinner party, he sits back and listens, and on the car ride home, she completely lays into him.
Oh man, that sounds like a miserable car ride.
Totally miserable. She says things like, "Why don't you ever contribute? You are making us look antisocial." She is furious, and he is just bewildered.
But if we apply that projection lens, we shouldn't be looking at his behavior, right?
Exactly. We have to look into her internal basement. What is the fear driving that rage?
Let me guess. She is terrified of her own silence.
You nailed it. She operates under this unyielding internal rule that she must be outgoing. She has to carry the conversation and be the life of the party at all times.
Why would she put so much pressure on herself?
Because somewhere along the line, she internalized a devastating lesson. She learned that being quiet meant being invisible or boring or unloved.
Oh, that is so sad. So silence became dangerous to her.
Right. She exiled her own natural need for quiet introspection deep into the shadow. So when she looks at her boyfriend, she sees him doing the exact thing she is terrified to do.
And she aggressively attacks him for it, just to distance herself from that trait.
Exactly. And here is where it gets really interesting. We fundamentally attack others for the exact permissions we categorically refuse to give ourselves.
Wow. Permissions. That is such a great way to frame it. She won't give herself permission to just be quiet, so she definitely won't let him get away with it.
Precisely. And this calcifies over time, which brings us to family relationships.
Ah, family relationships.
Meaning the long-term dynamics and connections between parents, spouses, and children. Family relationships.
Got it. I can imagine the projection gets really intense in families.
It does. The sources give a vivid example of a mother who gets intensely annoyed at her husband, constantly branding him as lazy.
Okay, but wait. Is he actually lazy? Like, maybe she is doing all the chores and he is just playing video games.
On a logistical level, there very well might be an unfair imbalance of domestic labor. That definitely requires an adult conversation.
Right, the mental load is a real thing.
It absolutely is, but we are focusing on the intense, simmering resentment. Why does the simple act of him closing his eyes on the couch trigger a visceral, aggressive character assassination?
Oh, I see. It is that disproportionate emotional charge again.
Exactly. She is operating like a perpetual motion machine, working, managing the household, coordinating kids. She is running a daily marathon.
So she is probably utterly exhausted to her bones.
Yes. Her body and mind are screaming for downtime, but she refuses to let herself rest because she has tied her self-worth completely to her productivity.
In her mind, resting equals being worthless.
Exactly. She shoved her profound human need for rest into the shadow. So she projects that fiercely denied need onto him, aggressively labeling it as laziness.
She's basically screaming at him, "How dare you let yourself be a tired human being when I am brutally denying that to myself?"
It is incredibly tragic when you frame it that way. She is fighting a brutal war inside her own psyche, but using him as the battlefield.
That is so true. But it brings up a logical question. If this causes so much pain, why do we primarily do this to the people we love the most?
That is a great question.
I mean, I definitely don't scream at a random stranger in the grocery store for looking messy or being quiet.
Well,
Why my best friend?
it comes down to a concept we can call the safety paradox. We project onto our loved ones precisely because we feel safe with them.
Safe, but we are starting fights with them.
Right, but it is like taking out an emotional loan. You
Oh.
only borrow that much volatility from someone who you know isn't going to abandon you immediately.
Ah, okay. The familial bond or the deep friendship ensures they won't just walk away forever.
Exactly. Turning inward to face our own shadow, admitting we are disorganized or terrified of silence or desperate for a break is agonizing.
It threatens the whole identity we built to survive.
Yes. So being angry at someone else is a fantastic distraction. It is energizing. It gives you a rush of adrenaline.
It is psychologically cheaper to be mad at you than to be disappointed in myself.
Perfectly stated. But relying on this safety paradox creates a devastating trap. We end up in a continuous loop of pain.
Because we are treating the symptom while completely ignoring the disease.
Right. If your basement is flooding, standing on your porch screaming at your neighbor about their leaky garden hose doesn't stop the water in your own house.
That is such a good analogy. You are wasting all your energy on an unwinnable external argument.
While your internal wound just continues to fester in the dark, the external argument will just happen on an endless loop.
Tomorrow, the jacket is on the couch again. Next weekend, the boyfriend is quiet again.
And the explosion happens again. We are stuck on the hamster wheel.
Okay, so this raises a very important question. How do we actually step off this wheel? I definitely need the toolkit here.
The sources provide a highly actionable toolkit to break the cycle. It starts with a simple two-question exercise called the projection check-in.
Okay, the projection check-in. When do I use it?
You deploy it the exact moment someone starts to really annoy you.
Wait, seriously. In the middle of being furious, when my heart rate is spiking, I have to pause and ask myself questions. That feels physically impossible.
It is incredibly difficult. It requires fighting your body's stress response. You have to use that sudden spike of irrational annoyance, that heat in your chest, as an alarm bell.
So instead of snapping, I force a neurological pause. I take a breath.
Yes. You take a breath and ask yourself, question 1. What specific trait about this person is making me upset? You have to isolate the variable.
Okay, so I can't just be vaguely mad. For my friend, the specific trait is messiness.
Exactly. Naming the trait focuses your analytical mind. Then you move to question 2, which requires brutal self-honesty.
I am bracing myself. What is question 2?
Do I have the same trait that I am hiding, rejecting, or refusing to allow myself?
Oh, wow. Okay, running the messy friend scenario through this. Question 1, messiness. Question 2, do I have it?
Well, do you? You have to look past the perfectly organized desk.
I mean, yes, I have a junk drawer. I am terrified of anyone seeing. I hide clutter when company comes over. I feel immense shame about it.
Boom! You have named the projection.
Identifying it is a huge victory. It immediately makes me realize my friend isn't my actual enemy. But I still have this wounded, embarrassed part of myself sitting in the basement.
Which brings us to the crucial second tool, the one you already used this week, the kind rewrite.
Oh, so I use that radical gentleness on my shadow trait.
Exactly. You step in to reparent yourself. You take that harsh, tyrannical inner monologue and rewrite it with compassion.
Okay, so the moment my inner critic says, I am a fraud, I have a secret messy room, I need to be perfect, I intercept it.
What would your kind rewrite be for this?
I would say, I am messy sometimes, and that's okay. I do not have to be perfectly organized to be worthy of respect.
I do not have to be perfect. You can almost feel the nervous system calming down when you say that.
It really does release the pressure. It completely neutralizes the internal threat.
And that is the magic mechanism. When the internal threat is neutralized, the external projection ceases.
Because I am no longer at war with my own messiness. So my friend's jacket on the couch is no longer a psychological trigger. It is just a jacket.
Exactly. Or for the mother who thinks her husband is lazy, she could rewrite her thought to, I need to rest sometimes, and that's okay. Rest is not lazy.
By giving herself that profound permission, the resentment just evaporates. Sitting on the couch is no longer a crime in her internal rulebook.
So, to summarize all of this, our shadow causes relationship pain through projection. But by using the projection check-in and the kind rewrite, we can accept our own hidden parts and finally break the cycle of arguing.
That is incredibly practical. Listeners, we want you to try this today. Think of a recent argument you had with someone you love. What trait upset you? Run the projection check-in on yourself and let us know your result in the comment.
Yes, please do. But before we go, I have one more question for the audience. Throughout this, we focused on repressing negative traits, but the shadow also holds our positive talents.
Wait, really? We hide our strengths too.
Yes, Carl Jung called it the golden shadow. Out of fear or imposter syndrome, we hide our brilliance and project it onto other people, thinking we lack it ourselves.
Oh, wow. So I might think my coworker is a genius, completely unaware I'm just projecting my own hidden talent onto them.
Exactly. So, what is one talent or strength you have been hiding in your golden shadow? Tell us in the comments.
That is a fantastic question to ponder.
And we are actually going to explore that in depth on our next episode, Shadow in the Workplace, where we focus on activating your golden shadow at work. Well, that is all the time we have for today. We will see you next time on Easy English, Relaxed English Conversations. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.